God calls us to serve others and treat our neighbors as ourselves. In the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we need to leave the results to Him. And
Exactly.
but most of the time, it's going to be a challenge to find out how to serve and where to serve. Nobody has extra time in their schedule, so you're going to have to create the time to do something meaningful for others. But it will be one of the greatest lessons you teach your children.
Welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast. This podcast is brought to you by BJU Press Homeschool. Homeschooling is an exciting adventure we take with our children. One of the most challenging parts of this journey is choosing the curriculum you want to use. BJU Press Homeschool is a curriculum you can trust. All the books, resources, and videos have been designed with you and your child in mind. Their curriculum is educationally robust and rich, taking into account that children have different learning styles, strengths, and needs. Mom, you are in charge. BJU Press Homeschool is here to come alongside and support you. Do you need help with the teaching load, or is there a subject you just don't want to teach? Their amazing video courses are available for all grades and almost every subject. BJU Press Homeschool believes that homeschooling can produce a new generation of students who know God, love their neighbors, and stand firm in their faith. For more information, go to bjupresshomeschool.com. That's bjupresshomeschool.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zan Tyler podcast, where our goal is to help you thrive in your homeschool journey. Let me take just a minute to ask you to please subscribe to this podcast wherever you watch or listen, including YouTube. And if this podcast has been an encouragement to you, please leave us a good review. Each review really does help us, and it enables other families like yours to find the podcast as well. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We post a lot of content there. So today, we are going to talk about teaching our children the joy of giving during the Christmas season. And we'll be talking specifically about helping military families. So I'm really excited to welcome back my dear friend Natalie Mack. She is uniquely equipped to talk about this topic. Natalie is a national certified counselor, author, TEDx speaker, and a 20-year-plus military home educator with over 20 years of service to military homeschool families and military homeschool support group leadership. In 2021, she became the Military Community Outreach Coordinator for HSLDA, Homeschool Legal Defense Association, and created and developed the HSLDA Military Community Outreach Program. So she is amazing. She's the mom of 5. She has 3 or 4 college graduates now, Natalie.
We have 4.
4
college graduates.
And
yeah.
1 high school senior.
Yes,
And
exactly.
she's now experiencing new adventures as her husband has recently retired after serving for 34 years as a Navy chaplain. Just for those of you who are interested, she also hosts a podcast called Base to Base Military Homeschooling. So, Natalie, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Zan. I am so excited. This is always awesome to speak with you, and just, your love and passion for homeschooling is, you are the foundation we all stand on. So we appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Natalie and I just came back from a military summit that was sponsored by BJU Press Homeschool, who is also the sponsor of this podcast. So thank you very much, BJU
Yeah,
Press.
thank you. Thank you.
And sponsored also by HSLDA. So Natalie, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about it too from her perspective. But because Natalie is such an expert, we teamed together and invited, it was very small. We've never done this before. So we started out with a group of 21 homeschool moms who also have some type of military leadership in a support group or their local base. And so I'm coming off of that and just getting to know those 20 women and know more about Natalie's experiences, especially when her husband was deployed and she was homeschooling. It's just given me such a renewed heart to see how we can bless these military families who have given up so much to serve. They live on limited incomes. They often are moving every 2 years. They have moms and dads who are deployed. So they really do, their whole lives revolve around serving their country and ensuring our freedom. So, Natalie, thank you for your role in that.
Thank you so much, Zan. I appreciate that. And, often we are told as military families, thank you for your service. And that always warms my heart. And it is appreciated that people recognize our service. I also say to other fellow military families, do people really realize the depth to that sacrifice? And how could you ever share all of it without people thinking, "Oh my goodness, that's just too much to hear about," right?
Right, that's right. Well, listen, tell me as we get started a little bit about your family's life in the military. And that was 34 years. So, what
Yes.
that's been like for you?
Well, I'm a passionate military service person. Uh, and so I count that time as such a blessing and a joy. Our family has always been a family that has served. And the military community has given us that ability to serve our community in specific ways. Obviously, with my husband having been a Navy chaplain, that presented its own opportunities for service, clearly, at base chapels all over the world, communities, youth leadership, just so many things. And so we raised our children within that same community for 23 years. Our whole homeschool experience to this point was military. And so I have a passion, a deep respect for my fellow military families. I've lived the deployments, I've lived the fear of someone not coming back. I've lived alongside so many, and we've homeschooled in that context. And it's been not without sacrifice. So I don't ever want to paint a rosy picture of, oh, it was glorious, but we all pretty much feel compelled to serve and we're thankful we can. And we try to support each other as a community. So I really appreciate that.
So, tell me, did you ever have a Christmas season when your husband was deployed and not with the family?
Yes. Yes. And so I don't know why I'm feeling a little emotional here, Zan. I was like, I talk about this. You're hitting the hard ones. Okay.
I know. Well,
And that's what a good podcaster does. So it's all good. It's all good. Yes. Wow. You know, there's so much I don't wanna say you don't remember, but there's so much you don't think about in
right,
military service.
because you
You
wanna
just
put it
do what you
aside.
have to
Yes,
do,
that's
right? You
right.
do what you have to do, right? You just keep going. You hear about military families being very resilient, and I think we kinda feed off of that, and it just helps us to keep going in spite of all of the things. And so, yes, there were Christmases when he wasn't there. One particular one, he was, one of the chaplains on an aircraft, carrier, a Navy aircraft carrier. We were living in Virginia Beach at the time, and he was on the USS Truman, and, he was deployed, and my mom and dad, my mother-in-law all got together. They live in Maryland, so they were able to, and they got along well enough to get in the car together. I
That's a
should say that.
blessing.
That's the
Yes,
blessing,
yes.
right? And they all came down to visit us from Maryland down to Virginia Beach. And my dad was up late that night, putting I think there was a tricycle, there were bikes,
Oh,
there was
yeah,
just all
yes.
the things. And he was up late at night and we had a joyful celebration. I miss my husband. The kids missed him definitely. But we find a way to just keep going. That's it. Yep.
Well, we want to talk about today specifically how we can minister to and serve military families during this Christmas season, whether there's times of deployment or financial need or just whatever is hitting a family at this time. So, Natalie, give us some ideas about what we can do.
So when you approached me about doing the podcast, I was really excited because over the years we've participated in a number of programs from installation to installation. Some of the programs vary, but there's some national ones that are available, and they are open to non-military. So what does that mean? That means what I call civilians, people, like yourself and like Joe and others who want to give back to the military families. I- life is pretty hard, as a military family for so many reasons you mentioned already. The pay is not necessarily compensatory to the sacrifice, right? No matter what the budget is for DLD, it's still, there's so many parts that money needs to touch, and it doesn't always, make a whole lot of difference for us on the what I call on the ground. And so there's a lot of reasons to support military families, and so some of the national programs I made a list of, so I'll just go through.
Oh,
Would you
oh,
like
that
me to just go
yes,
through that?
absolutely, yes, and I
Okay.
might stop you and ask questions while you're going
Sure.
through
Yeah,
your
yeah,
list.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
definitely.
okay.
So one of the ones I wanted to mention is Operation Gratitude. And I love that, Operation,
Oh,
they think
yes,
military operation,
yes.
right? Operation Gratitude is one, and they send holiday care packages to deployed service members, veterans, and first responders.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So the first responder community, I was thankful a few years ago to be invited to speak for California for Christian Home Educators of California. And one of the workshops that I was asked to do was on military and first responder community because there's so many parallels to our life.
Right,
And so
right.
this particular organization, this is Operation Gratitude. Their website is operationgratitude.com, and it provides those opportunities for the American people to express their gratitude and show our military and first responders that what we do, what they do, we don't serve in that way anymore. So what they do matters. And it's been in existence since 2003. They've sent a total of 4 million care packages.
Goodness
I
gracious.
know 4 million carefully chosen items that are meant to boost morale and resilience. And they send, it looks like about 200,000 care packages per year.
So will the website tell us what to
Yes.
send and who to send to?
Yes. The
Okay.
website operationgratitude.com will give you the information. You can connect there. I think you can also decide if you want to just do like letter writing, which is so powerful. That's a lost art, right?
Yes, and it's
Everything
a
is on the phone
and yes, and that's a great thing to involve your children in. Let
yes.
the I mean, because you can spend you can spend a day, and it's
Yes.
literature, it's sociology and psychology and all these things, and teach your children how to write a meaningful letter. You
Exactly.
think, talk to them about the military enough that you can thank them for their service and where they're deployed and how much, and then tell them a little bit about your family life. And, but that letter writing, you're right, and that's such a gift to give our
Yes.
children. So you're benefiting in your homeschool while you're serving somebody else who is probably pretty lonely at this point,
Yes,
you know?
exactly. And, we don't always think about the military that are what we call on watch, throughout the holidays, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. They're sitting in lonely places, sometimes maybe not a full unit. They could be on
Right.
watch with a few people, and so away from
In
family.
a desert or
Yes.
on a
Yeah.
carrier like you were talking
Exactly.
about. Yeah,
Yes,
it's just
definitely. The military doesn't plan their deployments like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's a holiday coming."
Wouldn't it
Let's
be
make
nice
sure
if
everybody's home.
or in a festive environment, yes, that's not gonna
Exactly.
happen.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
service members are always, so appreciative. Families are thankful too because they know that the American people are, sending these letters and care packages to their loved ones overseas.
Okay, so
The
let
yes.
me ask you this, Natalie.
Sure.
So by the time people listen to this, we're into December a little bit. Um, how long does it usually take for them to get a letter or package? And what if we're a little late? Can we still send something that'll get there in January and it will be
Yeah.
meaningful?
Definitely, yeah. So, we're thinking about obviously holiday time. Well,
Yes, yes.
obviously Thanksgiving will be totally too late, but we're thinking Christmas. But again, they're still gonna be there probably, and
Yes,
so
yes.
there's an opportunity to just bless them at any time of the year. This is
Okay.
just a specific, so yeah, definitely, and they're gonna, the, most assignments, majority of them overseas, for example, and I don't wanna not focus on those who are stationed here in the
Right,
United States, but
absolutely. As
also
right.
deployed or in a what we call a TDY status, a temporary duty status. But if you're overseas, then if you mail something, it will go to an APO or an FPO, and that's totally the same postage, so
Oh,
it's
oh,
not an issue.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
and is it fairly quick? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it's
okay.
gonna go pretty quick. It's gonna go via, airplane. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, well,
Only
that's
our
good then.
household goods still go on the ships.
The things you need to live day to
You're right.
day. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I remember you telling me that with one of your moves, you forgot to keep all your homeschool stuff out. And, it just takes a while for your possessions
Yeah,
to catch up with you sometimes.
exactly. Right. I didn't
So
put it in what we call the express shipment, which is what was sent by plane. So, oh, yeah, you learn. You learn.
So don't fret if you're feeling, you wanna get that done this year. Just do it as you can
Right.
do it and send it on.
Exactly.
And we'll also be putting all this information in the show notes of the podcast at
Yes.
zantyler.com, and you can find, the names and the websites again if you weren't able to jot down notes like I'm doing during the
Yes.
podcast.
The other one is an organization we all are super grateful for, and we know the American Red Cross. Yes, they have a Holiday for Heroes program that delivers cards, care packages as well, and holiday greetings to active duty military veterans and their families. And then this is an opportunity for the public, again, the American people, to express gratitude, spread holiday cheer, and I have a website for that as well. So that's the Holiday for Heroes program, American Red Cross. And American Red Cross is you can find that in your community. Clearly, they're
Yes,
international
that's right. They are
organization. So
everywhere. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
definitely. So reach out to them. I'll say the USO, the United Service Organization. Now, many people may only be familiar with the USO because you've been in an airport and you've seen a sign that says
Yes.
USO Lounge, right?
Yes, and do you wanna give every time I buy a snack, do you wanna give to the USO? And I always
Yeah,
try to do that, you know,
yes,
and,
exactly. Thank
so
you. Thank
yes,
you.
but I never what I knew growing up about the USO was Bob Hope and,
Yes,
them
yes,
taking shows
right.
overseas to the
Overseas.
troops during the
That's right.
holidays, which was so amazing, and
Yes.
so I've been I guess they've been there for a long time, but I've been shocked every time I go to the Columbia Airport and I see the
Yeah.
USO, I think, "Oh, this is so cool." Um,
Yes, it is nice, and, it's nice for us as military, even retired, we can enter into the USO, we show our ID, and, they check the system real quickly. Most installations have a USO office. We have here, at the installation near me, at Fort Belvoir here in Northern Virginia, we have a Wounded Warrior USO, and it's open for everyone, families
wow.
included. So we as a homeschool group use that quite frequently, and I'm thankful that we are able to use some of the rooms for our clubs and activities
So what would people do, what would be the avenue for giving,
with
to
that.
the USO?
Yeah,
What would
so
families do?
okay. So a couple of things. According to what they say, the USO hosts holiday programs, including care packages, again, virtual events, and also in-person celebrations. So you can give, from they have events that include everything from holiday feasts to gift giving available worldwide. I have a website that is uso.org/campaign/holidays, and you can go to that website and it will give you all the information, opportunities to support and whatever events they have going on in your local community. I think it will ask probably, you know how that comes to pops up and asks for location, and it
Yes,
will take you to
yes.
your closest USO. So that will be a really great way to help as well.
So when I see the USOs in airports, it's not behind TSA, it's not behind the security wall. So I guess you can park at the airport and go into the airport to the USO if you had something you were donating or boxes you wanted to drop off or something.
Yeah, I would imagine I would say definitely check because the USO, offices there at airports vary in terms
Yeah,
of size and
yes,
capacity.
yes.
I'm pretty sure I've been to some behind TSA.
Okay,
So
interesting.
I
Where
you wanna
yeah.
check and see, I guess it would depend on the airport. And some of the larger airports, they may be over in Terminal A, like in Atlanta Airport. I'm not sure if it's Terminal A, but they have so many terminals that, the time I think about walking over there and I don't always do it, but some of them are very convenient. So check with the airport if you have a USO, see if they are able to accept packages and if have the capacity to do that. If not, they can connect you to a local one that will
Okay.
accept it. So,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, good.
definitely.
Okay, that's
They
good. That's
host
good.
so many programs, and a lot of companies donate, food, like, I'm trying to think of some. Panera Bread will donate bread and muffins and all the
Oh,
pastries.
that's yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
so
it's a lot
great.
of
Yeah.
effort. I think I may have mentioned to you food insecurity is that just makes me really sad because I've been in the commissary, which is our grocery store on an installation, and I've been behind, young moms that are, using food stamps to pay. And I just feel like that just I don't even understand how that's possible. I mean, I
No,
know,
I know. I know
yeah, like how
why it would be
Right.
possible.
Like,
Yeah,
why is
yeah,
that even possible?
yeah,
So food
that's right.
insecurity is an issue. I've seen people ask, on social media and some of the spouses groups where they've said, "Hey, we really need some food." And so the USO has been really good about that, and coming alongside the family. So let me go ahead and because I know we got a few. So
Okay, okay.
Fisher House Foundation, they have a Holiday Hero Miles, MILES program like airline miles. So this is really neat too, because this is something you really can do pretty quickly. The Fisher House Foundation's Hero Miles program allows people to donate frequent flyer miles. And guess what those are used for? They're used to help military families travel to visit injured service members during the holidays. So now we're talking Wounded
Okay.
Warrior. Okay,
Yes.
so let's say someone is a service member is wounded, say somewhere in Europe. Then Germany has a army medical center similar to maybe if you know of the one here in Maryland, Bethesda or Balboa is in San Diego. There's several what we call military treatment facilities, the big ones that exist around the country. Landstuhl has one in Germany in the Kaiserslautern area. So you could have someone that's injured overseas. They are not able to fly back. They are still receiving treatment and services and, there's no really way to fund that trip. So you could donate frequent flyer miles to help family
Boy,
members
that's amazing.
travel.
I
And
love
that's
that.
super
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and then I'll give the website, but it's sort of longest, but it's okay. It's fisherhouse.org/programs /hero hyphen miles /.
Okay.
But we're gonna give all that in the
That's
notes.
right.
So
We're gonna have
yeah,
those in the show notes. Yes.
okay.
I love supporting the Wounded Warriors project.
Yes.
I think
And
that's
Fisher
amazing.
House, the other thing to note about Fisher House is that they have homes that exist near these major medical treatment facilities. Say you have a child that's sick or and you need a place to stay, right?
Wow. Yes.
Where are you gonna, imagine a hotel bill, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
child who's undergoing treatment or any number of things. So this Fisher House is like McDonald's house. So we have these, yeah, those exist. Toys for Tots is one that you may have heard of. It's been around for a while. It's run by the United States Marine Corps, who are their
That's
reserves.
right.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, their reserves. And they collect new unwrapped toys during the holiday season. So you don't even have to wrap them. They just collect new toys, they distribute them to less fortunate children in military and civilian.
How do you get is Toys for Tots only for military families? Or
Yeah, well,
okay,
they distribute them to less fortunate children in military and civilian communities, so they do both. Yeah, this is the United States Marine Corps Reserve, so you don't even have to be a military family, which is great too, because
okay.
kids, kids are kids, like, you wanna
Yeah,
bless them
yeah,
all, right? And
yeah.
the website is Toys for Tots, that's TOTS.org.
I wanna talk for just a minute about if somebody has like, we have Fort Jackson, which is an Army
Yes,
base in
yes,
Columbia, South Carolina. What what do you do if you wanna do something specific to support or sponsor a family on your base, or you just wanna do something for an event your base may be having that they need volunteers for? Now, as civilians, that may not be possible, but
right,
tell us, Natalie, so tell us
yeah.
how I'm Zan civilian and I call a number at Fort Jackson and I say, "How can I help?" Are they gonna say, "Oh, well, here are the ways," or,
Yeah, so let's start with probably the one that most people have is access to social media. So
okay.
these installations, say Fort Jackson, say here at Fort Belvoir, they have public pages and they announce a lot of activities
Oh,
and
okay.
events. And so that is the easiest way is to just look for their Fort Jackson main page or their, you know, Los Angeles Air Force Base or, the Fort Liberty, which was Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Just look for their main Facebook page, their socials, and you can find that. You can also do a quick Google search and get a main line that will give you access to someone who can connect you. They probably will connect you to probably the USO, or they'll probably connect you to what is considered Army Community Services, which is basically for the on the Army installation. If it's Navy, it's gonna be, Fleet and Family Services. Air Force has a name, but they'll know what you're talking about if you call them. If you call an
Right,
Air Force
yes.
base and say,
Yeah.
Army Community Services, they'll laugh, but they'll get you to the right place.
Yeah.
So no worries. Or if you just say, "Hey, I'm a civilian and I wanna help military families. How can I do that?" Just yeah, yeah.
So we just need to be brave. You just cannot be intimidated and let your children do it with you. I mean,
Right.
gather the family around, and Natalie's going to give us a few more national opportunities, in just a minute. But gather your children around and say, "How would you like to do this? Would you like to visit a USO and see what that's like, and drop off a package? Would you rather do Toys for Tots where they can help pick out the children?" Or you may pull rank and say, "We're going to write some letters and fix some packages," or just write the letters. And so, but involve your children in the conversation and explain to them what the military is for your younger children who may not have ever had any exposure to the military. You can tell them the four branches of service and what our military families are there for and what the military is there for. And you can give them a history lesson about freedom isn't free. These families are sacrificing for our families. So how can we give back? And
Yeah, thank you,
so,
Sam.
yeah, so don't, if you call, and this happens sometimes, you're going to get
Mhm.
somebody rude on the phone and
Yeah,
you're just trying
you
to
may.
help. Just
You
just
may,
call
yeah.
back. Yeah,
Call back,
call back.
please do,
Call
please
another
do.
number, call back again and say, "May I speak to someone else?" I mean, you just service to anybody usually is gonna involve some roadblock blocks. And so, I mean, I can even remember we were doing some things with the widows ministry with my children when they were younger at our church, and, Angel Tree, which was a ministry to prisoners' families during and we had some really bad experiences. Like, we got the names of a family and what the children wanted for Christmas, and we did what we were supposed to do. We took them to the mom's house where the children lived, and, understandably, she's in a bad mood. Her husband is in prison during the holidays. I'm sure her children are feeling that, and she just lost it. when we got there. Profanity, our little kids are with us, anger. And so, we left the packages. They were hers to do with whatever she wanted to.
Right,
We left
right.
the packages, and there's a gospel presentation inside the packages, to the children, and left. And, those are lessons in and of themselves to your children that God calls us to serve others and treat our neighbors as ourselves. In the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we need to leave the results to Him. And
Exactly.
so sometimes we are going to have service opportunities that just go swimmingly and there are no roadblocks and everybody's happy at the end of the day. But most of the time, it's going to be a challenge to find out how to serve and where to serve. Nobody has extra time in their schedule. So you're going to have to create the time to do something meaningful for others. But it will be one of the greatest lessons you teach your children in your homeschooling is making time in a busy schedule to serve others, because if you don't model that for them, they will never do that. They'll just think life is too busy to serve others. So please, please, please take some time during even if it takes you 3 days to find a project, do the project, mail the project. I mean, that is homeschooling at its best, and you're teaching your children vital things. So,
Yes.
okay, I'm off
Yes,
my
I love
soapbox,
it. No,
Natalie.
no, 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 no. I was just like, amen, 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 because it was all yeah, it's like I said, our children still serve to this day because they have seen it whenever I'm not saying, "Oh, we were these perfect
No,
family of
no, no,
servants,"
no,
but
but
we believe in the fact that we have been blessed and it was an opportunity to give back. And a lot of military families serve too. So what do I mean by that? I mean that there are programs that as military families we often are involved in to give back to our fellow military too.
that's
So
so
that's really
cool.
neat. So we
Yeah,
love our
yeah.
civilian families that love on us, but also internally the military. I mean, we basically and the military spouses and the families are what run a lot of these like nonprofit organizations and things that really give
Oh,
back
that's
to their
so
families.
great.
So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
spouses clubs, opportunities and things. There's so much volunteering going on that
Yes, yes.
sometimes military spouses, once they have reached that retirement, they realize, wow, look at my resume. It's all full of volunteer, all full of things. And you can convert that to, if you want to go back and go to
To the
paid employment.
workforce.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
the workforce,
yes,
exactly.
absolutely,
But yeah,
absolutely.
it's important for for children. And one thing as homeschoolers, you have control of your schedule, right? Even
That's
though it may
right.
not feel
Yeah,
like some days got
yes, but
ahead of you, right? But
yeah,
you in general though,
flexibility.
you really
That's
do. You
right.
have time flexibility to be able to
Yeah.
do this. It's
Yes.
powerful. I believe we're raising up, generations who want to
Yes,
serve, right?
absolutely, and Jesus says there are 2 great commandments: love God with all your heart,
Yes.
soul, strength, and
Yes.
might, and love your neighbor as
Love your
yourself.
neighbor as yourself,
And
exactly.
so, I
And
mean, those
that's good.
yes, the 2 most important lessons we'll teach our children. So,
Right.
Natalie, I got a question
Yes.
for you.
Sure.
Do you remember a holiday season, Christmas or Thanksgiving, when someone reached out to you and your family and did something that was particularly meaningful?
We have had I don't necessarily say I don't necessarily think of anything around the holiday time, um, but and the reason I have to say that is because we have how do I wanna say this? Like, the military has rank structure, and so my husband being an officer, um and the fact that he was a chaplain, we were always on the giving side. We just weren't on the receiving side. And that's not to say that you shouldn't be. I don't want anybody who's military to listen and think, "Oh, what is she saying?" I'm basically saying that was just our perspective and how we handled
Right.
it. So,
Right.
but there were plenty of people we know around us who were blessed and who we were thankful that they were able to take advantage of that because it was meaningful. But we've had other opportunities or throughout our years of service where we've been totally, totally blessed by so many people. And so, yes, I think that's one of the reasons we just feel like we have been blessed. We need to give back, right? Yeah. So, unto whom much is given, much is required.
So tell us real quickly about
Yeah.
2 or 3 or 4 other opportunities that people can access,
Okay,
and
sure.
then we'll wrap up.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to go really quickly. Operation Holiday Joy, that is the YMCA, the Armed Services YMCA. And so they provide holiday food baskets, toys to junior enlisted military families. So that's what the ranking. So
Yes,
a lot
okay.
of times I always wanted to make sure they were in line, that they had the opportunity. I knew that even though we weren't as officers, still it wasn't compensatory, right, to what my husband
Right,
could make
right.
outside, that we
Yes,
were in a little bit of a better position, right? And
yes,
so the
yes.
need was greater on for others. So Armed Services YMCA, will put the link for them to reach out. They have an Operation Holiday Joy is the name of theirs. So probably if you Google that, but we'll put the link. Other is Hope for the Warriors. It is their holiday giving initiative that provides gift cards to military families for holiday meals and presents. So it's designed to alleviate the financial burden during the holiday season and help families celebrate with less stress. And that one is hope for the warriors.org. This last two, Santa Boots program, the boot campaign that delivers surprise gifts, including toys, gifts, special holiday treats to military families across the country. And as a link for that one. And then the last one I'll share is Operation Help a Hero. It's Operation Christmas Spirit. This program adopts military families in need, providing them with gifts, gift cards, and holiday meals. They focus on supporting deployed service members' families and the wounded veterans. So I never want to forget our veterans who are
Yes,
wounded because they
yes,
are military too. They may not still be
absolutely.
serving active duty, but definitely reach out to your veterans in your community. Check the American Legion, for example. Find organizations that serve the veterans because they are definitely part of the community that probably needs a significant amount of resources and love and support. And so I will put the link that will be in the notes for Operation Help a Hero. And that's the last one that I figured I didn't want to keep going. There's so many,
No,
right?
no, there's so many, but you've given us
Yes.
so much to think about. So we lost my husband's dad, Joe's dad, back in I guess it was August 31st, and he was actually a World War II vet, as my dad was as well. And it was so sweet because he stayed in his house for 99 and a half years. And about the last 8 months of his life, he was in an assisted living facility about 2.5 miles from Joe and me. And it was so sweet because he met some some soldiers that were giving back, from Fort Jackson. Some were officers, some were not, and they came to visit the assisted living facility and met Joe's dad, Earl, and spent a lot of time with him.
Wow,
And
how
so
beautiful.
on August 8th, before Earl turned, I'll call him Granddaddy Earl, before
Yeah,
he turned 100, the day before he turned 100, there was a graduation ceremony at Fort Jackson because they have a lot of new recruits in boot camps. And, I'd say there were a couple of thousand people there, and they honored Earl for his service. And it was so meaningful. The colonel, just talked about Earl and what he had done in World War II and gave him a special coin. And it was and the grandkids, great grandkids, family, we were all there. And, so but being around these new recruits reminded me of they're going to have a hard road to hoe this
yes,
holiday season because most of
yes.
them will not be home.
Right,
And, so
right.
it just has made me that experience with Joe's dad and doing the military summit with you, Natalie, and getting to know you and your family and how y'all have all sacrificed has really put this burden on my heart. So let me just encourage you all to find somebody to serve during
Yeah,
this holiday
yeah.
season.
Amen.
It may not be a military family. There may be a needy family or an elderly person in your family that needs help and visits and letters and a care basket. But
Right.
make sure you take the time during this holiday season to give back to others. And
Amen.
Natalie, Thank you so much
Yes.
for the research you did for me on this. This
Oh,
is
you're
so
welcome.
helpful. Thank you for your life and your
Thank
family's
you. Thank you,
testimony.
Zan.
And also
Thank
tell
you.
us how people can find you. I know you have
Yeah.
a website of your own as well. Is it Natalie Mack?
Yes. You mentioned I'm the Military Community Outreach Coordinator for Homeschool Legal Defense Association, which I totally love. You can reach me there at military@hslda.org. So if you're looking to get connected and you call, like you said, and you get the turnaround and you call again, you know, uh, you know, email me. I'll see what I can do. And that's after you've checked though yourself
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple of
that's
times.
right.
I should say that.
Yes.
Because we don't know break
Yeah.
our internet reception, like, "Oh, what is going on?" And then the other ways you can reach out is, a year ago last month, I had started a nonprofit Military Homeschoolers Association, so you can reach me through, that one is militaryhomeschoolers.org. And, those yeah, you can find me those probably 2 best ways, yeah. I'm available, you can find me.
And yeah, be sure to tune into Natalie's podcast as well.
Yes, definitely.
So
Thank you. Thank you,
well,
Zan.
well, I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. And as always, you can find me at zantyler.com and on social media. And may the Lord bless you during this Advent and Christmas season as you look for ways to bless others around you. So thank you for being with us today. And until next time, bye.